Welcome to VetterView. My name is Cesar Rubio, and I created this podcast to show some raw experiences and challenges service members face during service and transition to the civilian world. I'd not only like for us to be able to share our experiences, but offer advice to others who could be facing similar challenges and give people a different perspective and understanding to the challenges we face.
And boom. All right, so this is going to be episode 13. And our guest here is Jason. If you want to give a quick introduction and your time in service, brother.
Jason Menendez. I was in the Marine Corps from 2004 to 2010. I was with 3rd Battalion, 24th Marines, Kilo Company, and I was with 1st Battalion, 24th Marines, Charlie Company.
All right. So what would you say were some of the reasons that you joined, and would you say that you were looking to get something out of the military?
Well, I'm part of that whole, 9/11 happened. I was in high school, and I was just a sophomore. I remember I was sitting there in band class. We all watched it on the TV, and at that point, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I was going to do something.
Sure.
And like I was telling you earlier, like I was always that kid that was in trouble. I was always fighting. I went to like 10 different schools throughout my, childhood school career. Always in trouble for fighting. And then my grandfather was a Marine, and I got into it with my parents one day, and I just took off. I walked 5 miles to the recruiter station, and I signed up. I was in the DEP program, and about a week went by, maybe 10 days or however it went, and I got into it with my parents again. They took my car away, so I was like, fuck you guys. And I walked to the recruiter station again, and I said, all right, I want to go now. And I remember that Gunny Reynolds, he was a wild man. He was like the head of the whole recruiting section for like Jefferson County. And he's like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. He made a phone call, and then I went back to my house with the recruiter, and I was like, all right, I'm going to the Marine Corps today. And I slept in the hotel that night. And
what did your parents think, bro? Were your parents like, no, like you could stay, it's all good? Or did they try to convince you, or were they just all about it? Were they obviously a little bit worried?
They were just more like just awestruck, like, oh my God, he did it.
Yeah.
Oh man. I remember my dad works right next to the federal building, and when I was sitting there at MEPS or whatever, I went down after lunch, or like they gave us our lunch break or whatever, and he brought me up to his laboratory, and he broke down. He cried. It's like I've seen my dad cry like 3 times in my life.
Wow.
And he cussed me. He said, "You motherfucker! You wasn't supposed to do this." He was proud of me, and he set me on my way.
Yeah, but of course, being a parent, fucking, especially joining the Marine Corps during that time frame, he.
Yeah, that was that was August 17th, 2004, because I showed up to boot camp August 18th, 2004.
Damn, that's crazy. What MOS did you end up going with?
I was infantryman 0311.
Okay, and did you pick that MOS for a specific reason, or you just wanted to do Marine shit? You want to go out there and
Actually, I scored kind of high on that ASVAB, I guess, because
like most of you, what the fuck is wrong with you guys, dude? Most of you guys are fucking. Everybody thinks grunts are dumb, right? For some reason,
right.
And then fucking you hear about like their stories and their ASVAB and shit, and it's like, god damn, y'all motherfuckers had options.
Right. Yeah, I remember that Sergeant Brown or whatever at the MET station was he was like, well, you can do this, you can do this. I was like, no, I just want to be Marine Corps infantry like my grandfather.
Yeah.
He's like, are you sure you don't want to do this? And I was like, no, I want to be a rifleman.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I'm sure that shocks a bunch of the recruiters, and I got asked a few times. I didn't get to go that route. I actually went in open contract, but yeah, oof. Luckily I got Mortar T. Luckily, but yeah, a lot of recruiters are like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to go infantry?" And it's like, "Yeah, dude, let's just fucking go that route, whatever." Did you intentionally want to join into the reserves unit, or like was it like you wanted to was it something that you had heard about it, or how was that?
I mean, it's kind of like actually one of my biggest regrets, I guess, in life is that I went to the reserves because I was kind of like half in, half out,
Sure.
and I should have just went active duty and just because I tell you, like being 18 years old and then joining the reserve, so you go do your your boot camp and your MOS school, you go to SOI, you get all that done, and then you come back, and then back in 2004, 2005, I graduated SOI, and then with the way the workups are starting to go and all this stuff, like trying to find a job and do all that stuff, like nobody was gonna hire you. Nobody's you got to be gone. Oh, you got to be gone now. Oh, you got to be gone now.
Yeah,
it just never worked out. It just
so it wasn't really as beneficial as you. Did you go in with the idea that you thought it was gonna be like the best option for you?
Yeah, I did think or whatever. My biggest problem is the same problem every Marine has is, I wanted to chase tail,
Yeah, dude, that's it.
I didn't want to leave that. I was, I kind of pussyfooted around.
Yeah, you hear that a lot, to be honest, and that's a big thing where it's like, oh, my girlfriend doesn't want me to join, and a lot of guys don't join because of that. But I mean, you at least went in and you fucking and you joined for it. So when would you say when was your guys' first deployment?
Our first deployment, I guess, workup would have started. I think March of 2006. But then, like, we already knew that we were getting. We didn't get activated. My particular unit did not get activated at this time. They had just come back from a pump.
Okay.
And so everyone that did not go on that pump, all the junior Marines, got voluntold that we were going to augment to 1st Battalion, 24th Marines. And so the Marine Corps, what they did is they put together this giant hodgepodge unit to create to fill that battalion up. And it was just reserves from everywhere, and then we had a bunch of active duty leadership and stuff come in. So I was in 1st Battalion, 24th Marines Charlie Company. My CO was Captain Michael Main, and that's one of that man is a war fighter. I mean, absolute war fighter.
Yeah.
He used to run. He would run around the souk in Fallujah with a fucking baseball bat in his hand.
Really?
I swear to God.
Like a fucking Inglorious Bastards. You're just fucking.
Yeah, that dude. He was no joke. He's still private contracting out there somewhere.
Oh, really? He's doing some Blackwater shit.
Yeah, he is. If there's no war if there wasn't a war to fight, he would just crumple internally. Like that's what that man has to do.
Yeah, some guys are just like that, that's what they're fucking born to do is just be a fucking warrior. Fuck, I had a question for you. And so when you found out that when you were voluntold that you were going to deploy, and obviously you knew that you were going to go to Iraq, I'm guessing, because of what had happened. What was going to
at the time, like I knew that I was going to get at least one deployment during the reserves. That was my big thing or whatever. I was like, I want to go do a deployment. I want to go get some or whatever.
Sure, like everybody.
So, that happened. I mean, I didn't know quite how it was going to work, but I knew it was going to happen.
Sure.
And the orders come down, and we started doing like these what they call monster drills. So instead of being your one weekend a month, 2 weeks a year, it's like a whole week a month, and then you come back. So we'd go out separately, and we'd go do our drills with Charlie Company,
right?
And then so the AT, that 2 weeks or whatever, they extended that like 3 weeks, and we did that. We went out to Pendleton for that. Stayed at Talega, if you know Heartbreak Ridge, where that's where that was filmed at. It is a shithole. Have you ever been there?
I was in a shithole my whole enlistment.
Right. That's true. Very true. Not as shithole as that.
Yeah. That's a steamy shithole.
Yeah, it's very, very steamy. So we did that, and we started that workup. We lived at Horno for that workup. I guess that workup had to be 4 months ish. We basically were at Horno, and then we lived at Mount Town 321 right there at the base of the Reaper, and that other Mount Town that's not quite as cool as that one. That's just all we did. We didn't know where we were going. We just know we were getting deployed. They didn't tell us. They didn't tell us where we were going till after Mojave Viper. We were out there at Camp Wilson. We just completed the Mojave Viper, and they're moving us to main side, and all our advanced party started leaving or whatever. Right before that, they come out with them AO maps, and they said, "Hey, you can't tell anybody, can't tell your family where you're going."
Yeah, OPSEC.
OPSEC, blah blah blah. Actually, funny story about OPSEC is
it's fucking stupid when it comes to the media. I'll tell you that.
I kind of got in trouble with PMO like the night before.
No shit.
We were leaving. Yeah, all Advon was gone. Like, we had no leadership there left whatsoever. My acting platoon sergeant was a buddy of mine, Corporal Webster. And we won't go into the story that what had actually happened. But I had to go. Our PMO shows up, and one buddy was like, John Brunn, who was with 2-7. He's like, man, this guy, he's deploying like tomorrow. And the PMO said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I can't tell you, OPSEC."
Were they like, what the fuck?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. They're like, "I'm PMO, I do whatever I want."
Yeah, I'm the Marine Corps, you just tell me. Yeah, I can't, dude. What I think is fucking kind of weird about OPSEC is they told they told us, obviously, like they tell anybody who's going overseas, it's like, hush hush, don't tell anybody where you're going, what the fuck is going on. And then we arrived to Kuwait before we fucking end up opening up Iraq, and we see that the media is like, "Oh, they sent so many Marines to this location for this operation," and it's like, what the fuck is going on? It's like, so we're doing OPSEC, we are practicing OPSEC, but the rest of the fucking country already knows. The rest of the world is already aware of what the fuck is going on. So it's just, it's kind of a joke when it comes to the media OPSEC. So, did you guys end up only doing your pre-deployment training in Pendleton, or did you guys also end up doing it in good old 2-9?
No, we went to 29 Palms, Camp Wilson. We did Mojave Viper and stuff out there.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, it's like it's 30 days or whatever it is, and then we come back to 29 Palms. To get to the end of the story, I was talking to my old battalion, or my old XO.
Right.
A few months ago, and he just retired in December, and he was telling me because he was like the embassy duty type thing or whatever.
What is it called? Fucking MSG. MSG. Is that what that is?
They are security forces or something. What is that? It's embassy duty, whatever that is.
Yeah, it's MSG. It's like military security guard or something like that.
Yeah. He said, we got back from that deployment, which is he's got a long, lengthy career, 20 years in.
Right.
He said, after that deployment, we got back, and within 10 days, I was back with my regular unit. That was the demo. 10 days.
Really? There was
back from Fallujah to back to your duty station.
And
that was it.
Was he in the reserves as well, or was he active duty?
No, he's active duty. He just retired in December. He was battalion commander of Infantry Training Battalion.
Oh, right. So would you say that there was really no time for like him to readjust or like decompress? Is that?
No, there was no time. I mean, within 10 days of coming out of Fallujah,
Jesus,
I was back at home with my family.
Jeez.
That was it.
Did they give you guys any sort of briefs? Did they fucking like?
Oh yeah, it was a solid 10 days in the movie theater.
Fucking falling asleep. Fucking
yeah.
Probably telling you guys not to drink as much, or
right.
Probably telling you guys not to get in fights. Did they? Would you say that they mentioned shit about mental health there? I know it's rough, but like.
I don't really remember him talking to. I'm sure they did, but I mean, the first night back or whatever, I think the first night back they wouldn't let us buy alcohol.
Really? That's so strange.
The next night we bought the whole PX out of booze. I mean, it was, yeah.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah.
You got that. You got that deployment money. You fucking
Right.
that tax-free deployment money. You're just dropping that
Right.
dough.
Oh yeah, you come back. I turned 21 there, so yeah, I was 21 years old. You know, a pocket full of money.
Fuck yeah. More money than I think I've ever seen my whole life. Then, like, it was just holy fuck.
Right.
What what do I do with this fucking money? You know, like holy crap, I actually got money.
Right.
So how would you say the beginning of your first deployment was? Do you want to get into that a little bit?
Yeah, it was rough. We took we got hit pretty hard. We had 22 KIA.
Fuck.
And I think like 304. I think our stats is, you know, everybody's got their stats.
Sure.
It's like 22 KIA, 342 Purple Hearts, and 42 amputee.
Jeez.
So I mean,
and that was over the course of the whole deployment, right?
Yeah.
When you guys
6-month deployment, you know, 2 weeks. You get
6
first
months.
2 weeks. Well, you know, your first 2 weeks is like Kuwait or whatever,
Sure.
and then your last 2 weeks would be like
Kuwait, yeah, flying back, getting the fuck out of Dodge and doing the whole inventory check and making sure you got all your shit and, you know, getting ready to just get back and transition back to the States. So when you obviously your first 2 weeks, Kuwait, did they brief you guys that you guys are going to encounter heavy resistance when you got there, or like how was it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was. We call it like a 3-block war. So
I heard that in the doc actually. Yeah.
I know that sergeant is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's just like, you know, 1 block. You know, you're handing out candy, everybody's waving. The next block, you know, you get smoke checked. You know, it's just you never really fucking know.
Yeah.
I think our first like 9 days there, October 15th, 2006, we took our first hard contact. Our CO was out. They were up on the new bridge in Fallujah, and Renicky, he was in the turret, and they threw a grenade at him. He's the only person I know that's been hit in the face with a grenade and lived.
What?
He's in the turret, so they throw a grenade at him. It hits him in the face, cuts his eye open, and it bounced on the other side of the blast shield.
Wow.
He ducked down, the grenade goes off. We were out and about, and you know, it comes over the radio, so we're all hauling ass down there. That we were, I know we come up River Road. My squad would come up River Road. I was lead Vic in the turret.
Lead Vic, I bet that's a good feeling.
Yeah. So we're coming up River Road. I think we ripped 1-6. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure we ripped 1-6, or 1-6 ripped us. Maybe we ripped 125. They told us, whatever you do not go down River Road in vehicles.
First thing you guys did.
9 days in, going down River Road in vehicles.
Contact.
And we're trying to get up to the new bridge, and I remember we're going past, and then I was first squad, and then third squad, they're like teeing into us, and they hold, and then they fall in behind us. So now we got like a 10 vehicle convoy going down it,
right?
And they hit it, yeah, right in the middle.
Was it an IED or was it just small arms fire?
It was an IED. It killed 2. Killed 2. Took 3 legs. Fuck. 1 guy walked away unscathed. And yeah, that was the first 9 days. And then it was just kind of like that. You know, we were taking contact every day, and then kind of towards the end, it was like every other day.
It was like dying down a little bit.
Yeah, well, we hit them hard. They did not want to fuck with us. The Moose did not want to fuck with us. We definitely took it. We took speed and intensity and violence to them.
Good. Yeah, you guys gave it back, is what you're saying. You guys responded swiftly like you fucking should, and obviously, you guys weren't just gonna push a fucking IED. Did they hit the first? Well, you were first Vic, so right? Did they hit like a middle
They
Vic?
Yeah, they hit a middle Vic, but they hit the middle Vic in what they would see as the convoy, but in reality, they hit the first Vic of third squad, which is they
Oh,
just fell in behind us or whatever.
right. Um,
Uh,
I'm backtracking here a little bit, but would you say that? And I meant to get this question out earlier. Would you say that the pre-deployment training was intense enough, or would you say that it was adequate for what you were going to deal with when you got over there?
no,
No, not at all.
no. I mean, there's only so much you can do. I mean,
Sure.
you can clear so many houses,
Mm-hmm.
and then we did a lot of vehicle work while we were there, and
Sure.
I had never really driven or ridden in a Humvee before I got to country.
Trash. Yeah, trash fucking vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Trash
Yeah,
vehicles.
there's nothing left stateside. There's no vehicles stateside for you to train in.
You guys didn't have Humvees over there to do like your ops and shit like that?
No. In country we did,
Right, but
but for the workup, no.
what?
We had zero vehicle training.
Wow. Like no mount training when you guys were.
Well,
Wow.
mount like CQB, that kind of stuff, but no mounted vehicle training whatsoever.
Wow. You know
And
what?
then I was a saw gunner, so like I just immediately got thrown in the turret.
Of course, of course. What's crazy that you mentioned that is we train with Humvees now. I don't know if they've changed it up. I tried bringing it up so they could fucking try to change it up, because when we go to country, we're in MATVs and MREPs now, which are mine resistant, ambush proof vehicles for people
Yeah,
who
those
don't
were
know.
just coming out. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so when we get into those, when we get to country, we don't. One, the techs don't know what the fuck is going on with those vehicles, and the fucking the O3s who primarily drive those vehicles don't know how to properly start a fucking MATV. Don't get the full fucking training like you were saying about that when it comes to operating that vehicle under those circumstances.
Right.
And it's kind of fucking. I think that's kind of shitty and potentially poor planning, especially when it comes to you guys going to Fallujah and you guys don't even have fucking Humvees to train with, which I think is kind of fucking. I personally think it's unacceptable, especially when it comes to your guys' lives. And obviously, Humvees aren't meant to take explosions because they're fucking flat bottom death boxes.
Right. No, yeah.
And would you say that that you guys weren't properly equipped for that first deployment?
No, we're like in country. We were equipped. It was everything we got. I remember like we got there and they're like, all right, saw gunners, you got to go over here, and they switched out. And also now we got these parasaws, which is pretty cool because now all of a sudden this saw that was huge, and now it's like little bitty.
Yeah.
And claps, and like that was pretty cool. We had up armored Humvees.
I had heard people had to attach plates to their fucking Humvees, like early.
See, I think that was like just before us. Those guys were doing that, but we had in country. We had good up armored vehicles.
Cool.
They're all beat to shit.
Yeah.
Because we didn't live at like a big fob or anything. We had a company size fob. It was called the CMOC, and it was basically if you draw a big circle of the city of Fallujah, and then you drop a pin smack dab in the middle of it. There's a 4-story building, and it used to be a school, and that's where we lived. That was our house.
Jeez.
The CMOC.
Right in the middle of fucking Fallujah, huh?
Yeah, I mean, if you ever been up, it's directly across the street from the Twin Towers Mosque. They used to use the Twin Towers Mosque. They go down south of us. They'd use them towers as aiming stakes for mortars.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, they knew if they fired between them minarets or
they'd hit you guys.
They'd hit us. Yeah.
Wow. Dude, those guys are crazy when it comes to indirect fire.
As a matter of fact, we pulled out of the CMOC and we there in like January January of 07, and we went down south to, I think it's ECP 6. They the engineers come down there and built us some HESCO buildings or whatever. And 2 weeks later, they drove in 2 dump truck SVB IEDs, one in the south gate, one in the northwest gate, and didn't actually hit the building, but they were big enough to where it collapsed the one side of the building, and then it's gone now.
Did it just blow up prior to actually getting close to your guys' little easy entry control point?
Well, we weren't there. We were down. Okay. We were down south already. We had turned it over to the Jundi, to the Iraqi Regular Army, and those guys were manning it. And they held it for 2 weeks or so, and they got smoke checked.
Yeah,
it was like the government center, like the IP station was there. You know, the Iraqi Regular Army had.
You could call it like the green zone of Fallujah, but
it was the government center.
Right. That got fucked up, obviously, as soon as you guys got out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because when I got to go to Iraq, we were in TQ. Are you familiar with TQ? It's a very.
I've been to TQ on my way in and out.
Yeah, we were in TQ, and it wasn't like what it was. I think when you guys were there, it was already a set up big ass base, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think TQ. I think that's the one that had the bus service on it or some shit.
Really?
Or was that Al Assad?
When we went back in, everything was fucking trashed. Everything was, because obviously when we withdrew initially, they have to fucking cut all the wires, destroy everything, fucking trash the whole base, and then we hand it over to the Iraqi military, and they don't do a very good job at taking care of it. So when we back up, it's basically rebuilding all over again. Starting with the small perimeter, expand like towers, and then expanding against some more and expanding against some more. But it was all just shitty when we were there, so we didn't get to see it. Like Al Assad right now, I heard is fucking amazing again.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's all rebuilt up again, and it's all fucking nice. Because that was the first base that 2-7 opened up into Iraq for Operation Inherent Resolve, and those guys were taking IDF fucking like it is crazy. Like that alarm was going off all the time, and they tried going on the ISIS guys tried going on there all the time. They tried getting into base. They actually got into base, but they fucked up, and they went into the soft side, so the special forces side, and they got fucking they got smoked fast.
Yeah, bad idea.
Yeah, terrible idea. And they were trying to do that with us when we were in TQ, but we had decent cameras. We could see them fucking trying to come to our fob from good distance. So we had the Army Paladins artillery just get them before they even got fairly close. But when you guys you said that you guys took those first casualties, how would you say that impacted the morale when you guys were first starting off?
I mean, it's kind of fucked up.
Sure, of course.
It's
You said 3 KIA, right?
What did you say?
You said it was 3 KIAs from that first.
It was two KIA. 2 KIAs. And 3 legs were lost.
3 legs.
Josh lost both of his, and then Lang ended up. He didn't lose it initially, but they ended up having to take it.
Right.
In all the fucked up situations I've been in over there, where shit hit the fan scenarios. It's the best I can describe it. It's like an outer body experience. It's like you're going through the motions. It's like you're over here watching yourself go through and do this. It's you're so mentally detached, but you're physically moving forward.
Yeah,
you know,
your body's just going through the motions, and your mind is kind of not.
I remember looking over and hearing and seeing everything going on, and it was like I was in a movie. That's my best I can describe that moment. Is like I was in a movie. I wasn't really there. It wasn't really happening.
Right. I'm sure it almost seemed like unreal, especially hearing the explosion and then fucking radios going off.
It was underwater a little bit, so it wasn't really that loud. It was a big one though. I think it was a 3-stack or a 5-stack. It was big.
Jeez. And I'm guessing 9 lines were called up and people were trying to get evac. Was that right outside your guys' fob, or was it like close enough
No,
to where you guys?
that was down south. That was right along the Euphrates on River Road. The River Road ran alongside the Euphrates, parallel to the Euphrates. We're in between the old bridge and the new bridge. We used to call it the Blackwater Bridge. You're not allowed to call it the Blackwater Bridge for obvious reasons. They don't like you to say that.
Sure.
But once I tell you you can't call it something, you have to call it that.
Yeah, it's just that's what you got to do.
Yeah. So that was like the first 9 days, and then yeah. I mean, we just seemed to hit it harder. We're like, fuck these guys. Let's find them. Let's find them. Find them. And we was just our rotation. The way it worked, our schedule was it was like a 15-day cycle. You do 5 days of patrols. Then you do and those would be mounted or dismounted. Then you do 5 days of QRF and ops.
Quick reaction force people.
Yeah, so you just hang out in a room in the basement, or not in the first floor of the CMOC.
Sure.
Everybody had to keep their boots on, and then so you'd either be on, your platoon would either be on QRF, one squad would be on QRF, and then at night it would be you do ops, which is we go do our hard knocks and all that fun cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then you get 5 days of FOB security, where we just man the post on the FOB or whatever, and then you'd be back to patrols.
Okay, so it was like a nice rotational schedule where they'd get you guys off of patrols for a bit, do some fucking FOB security, towers, whatever. Would you say they ever tried getting attacking the FOB that you guys were at?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was I guess I can get as weird as I want in this, huh?
You can say whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. Yeah.
I was up at the top of the CMOC. We had two. They were really just observation points or whatever. You couldn't return fire from there.
Right.
They're just boxes with glass, and you look out or whatever. And I was in there, joeing away.
Been there.
And boom! I took a sniper round right in my glass.
Wow! Holy shit! That make you finish fast or what?
Oh, I finished. I got on the radio, and we actually had our snipers. Our snipers were actually staying with us that particular day or whatever. And Staff Sergeant Grove, he come up, and he sat there with me for a little bit. Or I didn't have the heart to tell him what I was doing. Yeah, he come up there. He sat with me. We sat there and just glassed, to try to see if we could, take any more fire. Try to figure out where it come from. Nothing, nothing happened. We took a lot of mortars there. We had another guy who was joeing in. We had Johnny on the spots. We didn't have like internal plumbing or anything. And they had Texas bears around him. And the other guy, he was in there, Sergeant. He was in there. He was joeing away, and we took them mortars. He said he didn't know whether to sit and pray, get up and run, or to finish. He said he sat there and finished, and he comes out of there after it was all done.
Sweaty as fuck.
7 paces from his porta shitter was a big 120 laying there. Didn't go off. It was a dud.
Oh. Wow. Maybe if he wouldn't have finished, boom, something else would have finished.
Right, you never know.
You never know. Sometimes you just... Jeez, that's so fucking lucky. That was one of my worst fears when I was like, I didn't want to get caught taking a shit, beating off in the porta-john, or taking a shower. I did not want to get caught in one of those 3 things. I wanted to either be in my fucking bunk or just fucking going around, but luckily I never got caught under those circumstances. I was
There was another time I was in my rack sleeping, and we just done like an 18-hour ordeal, and you just collapse from exhaustion or whatever. I'm in my rack, and then they come in there and they shake me awake. They're, Menendez, what the fuck are you doing? Where the fuck are you? I was like, I'm right here.
Yeah.
They're like, you got to count up. We just took mortars or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. And we had taken a mortar about directly above my head. I slept through the whole fucking thing. I didn't know what happened.
Yeah.
Everybody was mad at me. I don't know.
Fucking sleeping, man. Yeah, we had a few guys like that too. It's because I think you're like my first night in Iraq. I fucking woke up so goddamn fast, and it was outgoing. It wasn't even incoming. I was outgoing. Yeah, I heard boom because the paladins shot right over us, and the whole fucking tin can that we were in was. And I was like, oh my fucking. I was like, what the fuck was that? And this other Marine who was there before me, he was like, that's fucking outgoing, dude. And I was like, all right. And then after that, I could sleep through anything. Like, I was fucking chilling. I was just fucking out. And I think that's a bad habit to have, but it just comes with being around that sort of environment. You know, you just fucking sleep through it. Some guys, I don't know if you ran into those guys that would sleep with their boots on, or like just so they can get up and get ready to get. They never like took their camis off, or they always just stayed fucking dressed up and ready to go just in case we got some IDF.
Yeah, I mean, we were inside that building. You know, I mean, you didn't really go out unless you want to smoke or whatever.
Right.
But, I mean, the mortars aren't going in there. I mean, they'll rock the building a little bit.
Did you guys have like a overhead coverage?
No, it was a big concrete building.
Oh, okay. We were just in a tin can, little tin aluminum thing with big Alaska barriers on the sides, so they couldn't really see.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
When we moved down to ECP 7 or whatever, we had them engineers build them HESCO things, which, just the HESCO, the big things they fill up with sand, and then we had like 3 layers of sandbags on the roof, and then they come in and they built like a gabled roof, and then we had to line that with sandbags or whatever. Or I don't remember exactly how that worked, but anyway, it was supposed to be like the mortars would hit the wood on the top and detonate, and then the sandbags would
absorb everything else.
Would absorb, like shrapnel or whatever. How that worked.
But
I don't think we really took any down there.
That's good. And did you guys have any warning systems at that time? Or was it just
not
you guys would just hear them coming, or like how did you guys know there was incoming besides the first impact?
The first impact.
The first impact? You guys could never hear it, kind of like,
if you were outside, you could hear it outgoing. You can hear the splash.
Fuck, that's crazy. That is wild shit. We got like 3-second warning, I think it was.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You get to get up, throw your fucking gear on, and run out there. We had little alarms. I don't know if you've heard those before. Incoming, which they're kind of daunting, to be honest. It's nice to have that, right? But it's like when you hear that fucking. I'll send you a video once we're done here about like of our defense system going off from one of the days that we took decent IDF. But that alarm kind of just fucking, you think you hear it more than you actually hear it once you start hearing it, where you're like, is that shit going off right now? Because there's sometimes where you're inside what's the place called, where you have the computers, and I can't remember that. The MWR, that motherfucker with 2 phones or whatever the fuck it is, internet as slow as a bird flying from one phone to another, but there's people who never heard it in there, and we were taking IDF, and the army cats would fucking run out when you'd be like, hey man, we're taking that. They'd just book it. They would just, they freaked out. And would you say that taking IDF what would you say was one of the most, I guess, challenging aspects about being over there? Was it just, what was something that was always in the front of your mind when you were out there? Like, were you thinking, oh, fucking IEDs, or what was something that was your highest concern?
I don't know. We always had that kind of like this joke. It's still a running joke. Like when we'd be like on a mounted patrol or whatever, you were leaving for 8 hours at least. You're going out on patrol. We're just driving around. We're just driving around in squares. Trying to get shot at, trying to get blown up. I mean, that's the job.
Get some attention, yeah.
Right. And the big joke is like, the first hour of patrol, your asshole's all puckered and you're all freaked out, and then after that first hour, that kind of goes away, and now
Sure.
everybody just smoking and joking. After 3 hours of that, the smoking and joking, you start fucking aiming for potholes. You're just ready to. Let's do
Let's
something.
get something going. Yeah.
It's just, and then mounted patrol, and then dismounted patrols. I was always you get a little scared when you
Sure.
go in or out of the fob, because you always had to cross those points. And so I was always just waiting to take one in the face. I would always remember, I was like, man, I hope it's clean. I hope it's lights out.
Yeah, I hope it's nothing that makes me fucking.
I don't want to lay there and gurgle. I don't want to do it.
Yeah. That's that mentality. I'm sure people are a little estranged about when if you ever talk about it back over here at home. So, what would you say were some of the toughest moments when you were over there? Losing buddies. I'm guessing those were probably some really hard times.
That was bad. Losing guys was bad, but we always knew that was an option. That's what we signed up for. We knew that was a possibility.
Right.
The very, very worst thing, it haunts me to this day, is we're kind of down south. We did like a long out. So we go out. What we would do is we'd go out in the middle of the night, and we'd take up a house somewhere, and we would just it's kind of like deer hunting. We just sit up in there and wait for somebody to come. We'd have a good overwatch. Wait for somebody to come dig a hole, put a bomb in, and then we smoke them.
Sure.
So we're down south, and we found this house. It's right at the corner of this trash field, and good long avenues, like you could see a long way.
Right.
And the people there that were in the house, I never even went upstairs really the whole 3 days we were there, because I got along with the family real good. The family they were awesome. They were the oldest brother was probably in like his mid-30s. He had moved back from Baghdad to Fallujah to take care of his sisters and stuff, because the Mujahid killed their dad.
Jeez.
And they were Mujahid's bad. They were good people. On the third day, we're in there. Actually, backtrack a little bit.
Sure.
They loved us. Boy, they cooked us all their food. They cooked all the food in the house. They didn't have any food left, and it was
wow.
Three brothers, their wives, and their two sisters, and then all their kids and stuff. And I remember I went upstairs and I was like, man, they cooked they're out of food. And so we all took like $20 for my squad. And so we ended up getting like $200 American cash. And we said, hey, just send the women to the market. Do not tell anyone we're here.
Right.
And they're like, okay. And then we would never do that to anyone, but we just had like a really good feeling about these people.
Sure.
These people were a good asset. If any intel come up, we were going to get it from these people.
That's
good
fucking cool.
People.
Yeah.
I had actually just had a little brother. My parents had an accident, and I have my little brother Jacob. He's 14 now. He was just born, and so it's kind of like warming up. They had this little kid. His name was like some kind of variation of Mustafa, but you didn't quite say it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he had real chubby cheeks, and I was calling him Chubbs. And they were like, the Chubbs, what Chubbs? Wayne Chubbs. And I was like, Chubbs. And they're like, oh, yeah. So the family, they started calling them Chubbs.
Yeah.
And they were good people. Well, sure as shit, on like the third day, some asshole comes up with his tractor, driving up the road, dirt road, and then he drops the fucking plow, and he starts digging a hole with a tractor. So, we call them COC, go ahead, do them. So they do them, and that was kind of it, we got the body, we actually did this cool thing where we actually only pulled out half the unit and left half the unit in. We made like a big show when we pulled it so they would think we were gone to see, see if we get somebody.
Oh,
And that didn't happen. So that we ended up leaving a few hours later. And
you guys leave that house? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, we left
Okay.
that house. We expelled, went back to the file. A couple weeks later, we're down there, and we're kind of joking in the Humvee, and we're like, "Oh, back to the scene of the crime," like. And we're looking, and the fucking house is gone. The house is not there. And we call back, but we end up we call back to COC, and we're like, "Can you give us a grid? Do we have this fucked up?
Right.
Is this where we work?" And they're like, "Yeah." So we get out and we start censusing. We start going around the neighborhood. We're trying to figure out what the fuck happened.
Sure.
And they they told us, the neighbors, they told us, the Mujahideen, the house, boombala.
Wow.
So they killed the whole family. Fucking savages.
Because they were hosting you guys, right? Because they
right, like they had some fucking choice.
Yeah, like you. Jeez, they flattened that whole house, huh?
They flattened the whole house, killed the whole family.
Jeez. One thing that kind of gets me, and sometimes it bothers me when I hear people from the States just talk shit about people there. It's like, dude, not everybody hates us. Like, there's like some fucking great people over there that legit, appreciate us being over there and like, actually appreciate the help and that they're actually good people. And sometimes that triggers me and I try to kind of just bite my tongue. But I mean,
Right.
it's for everybody who's listening, it's like there's some good people out there, man. Like some people actually want to do good for their country and don't want to live that sort of fucking lifestyle, like it's not what anybody would enjoy. So they fucking flattened that house, and did you guys hear anything else about it? They just killed everybody in that family.
Yeah, they killed the whole family. It was they were teaching them a lesson. You don't help the Marines, you don't help the Americans.
Wow.
And I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it. It's like I kind of feel I feel this weird guilt and responsibility that our actions cause this to happen. But I mean, I know that that's not the deal. But I mean, I still feel that way.
Right.
There's no.
Yeah, but like if it wasn't that house, it would have been another house. You know what I mean? Like if it was
exactly.
And could they have been not as good of people? Maybe, but there would have probably been consequences. They somehow they knew. Obviously somehow they knew you guys were in there. The neighbors that you probably spoke with, somebody let them know. Somebody, and that's fucking shitty. And what's also kind of a weird way to see it is that shit's going down. That same sort of shit is going down right there south of the border. Like right there in Mexico, that shit's happening. If you help the fucking cops or you help whoever, they'll fucking go after your family. Which is, I don't think it's something that people think about too much, but that's obviously a country that we were involved in, Iraq, and I'm sorry that those people had to that they had to go through that and obviously get killed for trying to do the right thing, and I'm sorry that you had to fucking deal with that. Would you say that after that, did you guys try to not get as attached to people that you guys were around, or did you guys see it a little bit differently?
No, definitely not. It's just I got into a little bit of trouble like right after that, and I ended up getting yanked out of my squad. I do know that looking back at it, that is kind of the reasons I was a little off the handle at the time. But
sure,
it is what it just is what it is.
Right.
There's nothing I can do. There's no. our mission had to get done.
Right. Definitely.
And, you know, there's nothing that those people could have done any differently. They could have spit on us when we come in.
It
It
still,
didn't matter.
yeah.
That guy shows up, he's digging a hole, he's getting smoke checked.
Right.
It's all there is to it. It's so now I'm sure, you know, they, you know, since the Mooj had already killed their father, they probably already had something, you know, kind of against that
That's
family.
true. Yeah.
But,
That was probably just the push over the ledge, and they were like, oh, yeah. They're like, definitely, then we'll just get rid of this whole fucking family, which is fucking crazy. So you get through your whole deployment, your first deployment, and you know you get back to the States. How would you say was your time getting back into the country? Like, how would you say it was?
uh, it was, you know, right when I got back home, you know, I was 21, you know, I just was drinking a lot, but still, you know, keeping in shape and
Mm-hmm.
just trying to party, chase tail,
Sure.
you know, Marine Corps stuff. uh, and, you know, after the Marine Corps, well, I mean, like I said, like we had like a 10-day demote. I mean, it
Right.
was like 10 days of they're trying to shove all this stupid knowledge that no one's paying attention to because
Right.
everybody just wants to, you know, go chase tail and get drunk and, you
Right.
know, ride out the high that, you know, everybody's been on for the last,
Mm-hmm.
you know, 6 months. Uh, and then I don't know. I mean, especially being in the reserves and then not being around everybody all the time, there's definitely like, you know, that feeling of like emptiness and loneliness a lot.
Yeah. And that was before you even got out, right? That was just getting
Right.
back from deployment and getting to go back home and try. So you had your 10 days, which is not very much to be honest. And I mean, I understand the feeling of when you get back home, you just want to fucking do everything that you've missed out on, pussy, beer, food, you know, all that shit.
Right.
You don't want to hear them fucking telling you, yeah, you may feel this, or you might want to take it easy here, you might want to take it easy there. Um, so when you got back home, how would you say would you say that your family helped being around, or did they make it a little bit more strange because it's almost like, I guess you could say you didn't necessarily want them to understand, but it's almost like they couldn't, you know? Was it a very
Right.
strange?
I definitely like, I more or less like, I didn't have a wife or kids or anything. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
just had my parents. And I pretty much just avoided them like the plague, really. I didn't really want to be around them. I didn't want them to see this weird new dark side of me, you know, like
Right.
I didn't really want that. I didn't like to be around familiar things anymore.
Yeah.
I wasn't that person anymore. I wasn't, I don't know. Uh,
Yeah. I don't know either. That's that's the weird thing. Um, did they ever try asking you shit? Did they ever try talking to you about it? Did they, you know, did they tell you that they
um,
maybe saw something a little bit different or anything like that?
no,
No.
no, I really just didn't talk about any of it. You know, there was a couple of times I got real drunk and got like real crazy emotional
Mm-hmm.
with my dad. Uh, but that's really the extent of it. You know, I didn't really talk about it with anybody or
Right.
anything. You know, just kind of lived. I mean, I still to this day just kind of I still live there. I'm still there.
Yeah. Do you think it was the type of culture and the type of environment, like we were talking about it earlier, when you and you weren't even out yet, it's just the fact that you were a reservist, but you were embedded in that fucking environment and culture, and then when you got back to the States, it's just boom, nothing, you know. It wasn't even I can't even imagine that. It wasn't even active duty being around your, you know, your brothers. It was just boom, civilian life again, you know.
Right, exactly. It was like that. And then so for 6 months, there was no even contact with the Marine Corps for like
Whoa.
6 months. That's the way it works. Like, because you're drilled out, you're maxed out on your time that you got to do for your contract. So there's nothing. And then
Jeez.
I had that surgery in that time, and then I was rushing everything because we heard word come down the pipe that we're getting ready to do the second deployment.
Right.
And I think I had a choice. I think I had a choice. I don't know. I might not have had a choice on to go on that deployment or not, but it didn't matter. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm going.
Yeah, let's fucking go. Yeah.
And I rushed through all my physical therapy stuff and all that bullshit,
Right.
and got cleared to go. I didn't make it there. I didn't leave with those guys. I caught back up with them when they had already started the workup, and then like a month and a half in to the workup, I ripped his shoulder back out of the socket, and that was pretty much it. And then I got dropped from my my platoon and my squad, and
right.
I was with just a bunch of fucking idiots at that point.
Just everybody who was the rear party, right? RBE, I think it's what it's called.
Yep.
So you didn't get to go on your second deployment, yeah? You just
which that would have been a good one. They were the last battalion of Marines in Iraq. They're up there on the Syrian border, and actually got cut short. They only ended up doing 4 months.
Oh, really? It's just because we pulled out of there?
Yeah, they pulled out, and I was talking to them guys, man. That they weren't even allowed to go condition 1 when they left the wire. They had to be condition 3.
Really? What the fuck?
Like, well, that's a big fucking change.
That's a crazy change. It's kind of like obviously my experience is way different than yours. Nowhere near as intense as yours. We were condition 3 in the wire, and then outside of the wire, we had to go condition 1. Which, but like towards the end of it, we didn't even have to have our fucking gear with us anymore, because we'd have to walk around with our gear the whole time, even on fob or, obviously off. But towards the end of it, it was just like, yeah, you don't have to take your gear with you anywhere. Like, it's fucking, it died out like crazy from when we started to towards the end of it. Let's just say the bombing campaign was very successful, because we were in between Fallujah and Ramadi. Well, TQ, obviously, it's right. You can see those motherfuckers, the shadow distancing of the building. But yeah, it's crazy how fast it fucking changes from the intensity levels to like from one year to another. Just boom, the progress that's made is insane. How would you say you feel when you heard that we had to go back into Iraq after all that shit that you guys had gone through and everything that had happened already and all that work? What would you say that was like for you guys? You speaking personally, I guess.
When Fallujah fell, I believe that was 2014.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching the news, watching my TV. I was living in my parents' basement, and I went off the rocker. I lost my fucking shit. I mean, I was throwing shit around. I was breaking TVs. I was like, why? Why the fuck is everybody dead? And you just give it back. You just gave it back.
Yeah.
And that was, I was mad at everything. I was mad.
Sure. It makes sense, dude. I mean, look, you guys went through some fucking hard ass shit. You lost a lot of buddies. A lot of guys lost limbs. A lot of people's lives are not the same, whether it be their families, them. A lot of people were affected by that conflict, and to see it just fucking and I don't want to use the word go to waste, because it's not giving you guys the credit that you guys fucking put in the work, right? But it's kind of like a fucking slap in the face, because you guys fucking were affected, mentally, physically, all around, dude. Like it was just, and I heard it from a lot of people that it's just like, what the fuck? Like, we told you guys that this was gonna fucking happen. Like, we all knew that this shit was gonna happen. We pulled out way too soon, and to be honest, that part of the world is fucked. It is so, it's so crazy. It's such a fucking slap in the face for your guys' generation of Marines that was fucking in there. And did you and other buddies of you did you guys talk about that shit when it was going down, like when it fell in 2014?
No, we all kind of like, everybody in my squad, in my unit, a couple of guys stuck together. The guys that stuck together all did real good.
Yeah, of course.
We got they're bunch of FBI agents now and stuff like that. I I kind of dove into like cocaine and alcohol there for a while. I think I was trying to I don't think I know I was trying to drink myself to death there for a while.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of just wallowing in my own self pity, pissed off at the world, pissed off at my government, pissed off at my Marine Corps, just pissed off all around at everything, everyone, everybody. There was like nothing I could do about it. I'm just a regular, dirty civilian now. There's nothing I can. Yeah, I don't know. There's a big block in my life there. I don't really remember a lot of it after that.
Right. So when you obviously dealt with that whole separation feeling when you got back from your first deployment, because you went back home for 6 months. But when you were fully out of the Marine Corps, would you say that you experienced that same sort of separation feeling?
Yeah, that's when I went down the alcohol and cocaine bender was after I got out.
After you got out.
Yeah, it was after I got out. That's when everybody kind of went their separate ways. Like that's when.
Right. What would you say? What would you say? Because obviously I dealt with my own shit, and like most of the people who have been on the podcast have dealt with their own shit. What would you say were some of the things that triggered it? Was it just the separation? Was it like you not being around your boys, like the lifestyle?
I think it's like the lifestyle. It's definitely like you're part of that well-oiled machine. Like everything's going good. We're there to win. We're gonna fucking win. There's no losing possible, and you're part of something just so much bigger than yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when you lose that, you're not a part of it anymore. It's a little bit of you dies, and then
I think a little
bit more of you dies every day. A little bit more.
Yeah. Do you think you're like I try not to think about this sort of things, like I try to not think about how I'm never ever gonna be able to experience anything like that ever again. And it kind of bums me out, to be honest, because
oh yeah, definitely.
Because you look back and you're like, holy fuck, like I can't believe I did all this shit. Like when you really look back as a normal person now, and you're doing whatever fucking bullshit job you're doing, it might be a cool job or whatever the fuck it is. I know my job isn't that cool. No offense to my job, whatever. But like it's just something that you're never gonna be able to experience, and you won't be able to experience. Because like that's it. You're out of the Marine Corps. You could potentially try to get back in, but being realistic, it's probably not gonna happen.
Right.
Would you say that that's one of the challenging parts about getting out, not being able to have those experiences and create those types of bonds? And
yeah, I did find something that kind of covered that. As a drug addict would say, chasing the dragon. I built scaffold for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually deathly afraid of heights, and so it was up there hanging out, 250 feet, walking on these little bitty bars, chasing, and it's chasing that dragon, it's chasing that adrenaline rush, that thing or whatever. And I was in there with a good group of guys, and everybody, had each other's backs or whatever. And it was like another brotherhood that I had found. Right. And then there ended up being a merger or whatever, and some of the upper management, everybody was scared of their jobs, and things went weird. And then apparently, if you go motherfuck the boss in his office, that's not a good deal. So I don't work there anymore.
Shit happens. Would you say, and this might not be an easy question to answer, did you deal with any suicidal ideations when you were out of the service?
Yeah. I wouldn't say like right when I got out.
Sure.
But yeah, definitely, it's always there. You can't go so much of your life, this block of your life of I'm gonna fucking die today, probably. Like, and you joking around about it, and that's a fact of the matter. There's people dropping to your left and to your right.
Right.
You know, and yeah, I mean, and I still think chalk that up to that's, you know, chasing that rush that,
Yeah.
you know, it's a drug. That's definitely a drug.
Yeah, that fucking feeling that you may or may not, and that adrenaline rush, and you know, I think
That it could, you know, end right now. That
yeah, and then you go back to the super calm lifestyle and super normal, and then nobody. What I thought was very strange is that when you come back from being deployed, and this is why we do it, right? It's so it doesn't happen back here, but it's like when you're here, it's almost like nobody knows what the fuck is actually going on. Nobody really,
right.
nobody, everybody's fucking clueless. Everybody's super fucking clueless, and nobody even knows that there's people potentially getting, like, there could be guys in Iraq right now, there could be guys in Syria right now, potentially getting fucking IDF, and we're just here fucking shooting the shit, right? Talking.
Right.
Nobody ever really thinks about that, and that's what I had I want to say a difficult time accepting, but it was just like, man, nobody really knows. It's
Right.
like a forgotten part of this country. It's just like nobody. I wouldn't say necessarily cares because there's a lot of patriotism behind the military, but there's also, I like to think it's the cool thing, right? When it comes to
Right.
a
That's
lot of,
exactly. Yeah.
I like
It's
to
the
think,
cool thing.
yeah, that's what I like to believe, and it's shitty that I feel that way because it's like, you know, fuck, these people don't really give a fuck, because I kind of think they really kind of don't, because if they did, they'd be a little bit more like, damn, that shit's going on over there right now. What the fuck's going on? And there are some people who legit fucking care, right? I had some coworker buy me lunch on Veterans Day, and I thought that was very weird because I've never, you know, I've always been like, ugh. It's kind of like when somebody thanks you for your service, and you're like, yeah, huh? You know, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't want to talk to you. Just shut up.
yeah, just no, I'm okay, I'm good. You know, thank you? Question mark. You know, it's like it's
Right.
strange.
Yeah, it's never know. You never know what to say. Like, oh, thank you for your service. It's like, okay.
Yeah, thanks for the support. You know, so I've been trying to say something, so I'm just so I don't feel as uncomfortable. It's very strange for me. But I always feel like it's such a fake thing when it comes to people being patriotic about it.
I've had one time I was at Costco and wasn't thinking about it, but I was wearing, you know, like a commemorative type skivvy shirt. It's got somebody's name on the back or
Sure.
whatever. And I had this older gentleman come up to me or whatever, and he said, "Excuse me, sir." And I turned around. He said, "So you a veteran?" I said, "Yes, sir." And he reached out to shake my hand, and it was the most. It hit me with emotions because I know he's seen that fucking shirt,
Right.
and he gave me one of the nicest, firmest handshake. And that one really caught me off guard.
That's
That's the
awesome.
only time I've really. That's
That
the
felt
only
good.
one. I mean, that's the instance. Every time that everybody is said, "Oh, thank you for your service," that's the instance that sticks in my mind that they kind of hit me in the feelings. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I honestly I try to do it too. Like I remember I was in a I had to stop on a fucking layaway flight, and I saw there was some dude sitting like a few rows in front of me, and he had a few memorial bracelets, right? Kind of like the one you have on now. And I was like, you know, that sucks because obviously those are friends or people that he knew. And me being already a Marine, I was like, I feel the need to be like, hey man, thank you. You know, like I understand that from my point of view, it's like you've lost buddies, you've lost friends. So I want I want him to know that, you know, I am, and it's I'm sure it's still a little strange because I didn't tell him that I was a vet, and I tried, and I don't say it. I'm just like, hey man, you know, thanks for what you did and for what you were going through and whatever. And I don't know, I just, if I see somebody that has that sort of shit on, I try to make it a point to, you know, say thank you from a fellow individual, because I even sometimes do it to cops, honestly, as shitty as a deal they might be having here with the
Right.
recent time. That job fucking sucks, dude. That job is
Yeah.
not easy. Fuck that, dude. It's not easy, and I don't think they get the best training, and I think they should potentially get better training when it comes to some sort of escalation of force, for sure.
I always catch cops like when like I'm in the store or whatever and they're in uniform,
Mm-hmm.
kind of give them that drill instructor, hi, and they'll pop over and I always say, be careful.
Hey, keep an eye out, buddy. Be all right. Stay safe.
Yeah, be careful. That's what I
Yeah,
always say. It always catches them off guard.
yeah. What would you say are some of the things that you did, or certain paths that you took to help you go through those issues that you were going through when you got out of the service, for somebody who's potentially dealing with the same things that you dealt with, that they could use as a tool, to overcome those problems?
Absolutely 100% best thing I think you can do is put the fucking bottle down. I
Yeah,
mean, there's nothing wrong with drinking, but if you're sitting there, wallowing in your own self pity, you are because I've done
sure.
it. Is to put that down, and I've been reaching out the last couple of years, been reaching out to my brothers, from back then, and that's really helped me out like a ton.
Yeah,
Uh, I've been trying to put together a not for profit
that's awesome.
for a little over. I was starting it, and I was doing really really good with it, and I was getting ready to get some funding,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got kicked in the dick by this whole COVID thing.
Like
So that's
most
kind of
do.
just on the back burner because the idea of getting people together right now is like potentially illegal.
Right. In some states, it's more illegal than others, which is weird. What's this nonprofit about, man? Do you want to talk
Right.
about it a little bit
Right.
more? Like, what is it that you're going
It's
after?
uh it's called Veterans Farms Foundations,
What?
and
Okay.
Veteran Farms Foundation. It's basically the idea of it is to get like if I get a piece of ground, uh, to get a group of veterans, like experienced veterans, together,
Mm-hmm.
and to bring them in there and show them how to do land management and how to manage their deer herd and just hunting and fishing
That's so
and
cool.
just to keep them together, to get them together and to keep them together because there's so many like nonprofit organizations out there in the outdoor hunting world that they bring two guys in and they take them on this $25,000 elk hunt. So they just spent 50 grand for these two guys,
Mm-hmm.
and they do everything for them, other than at the end pull the trigger, and then they just go back to their lives, and they're not.
Yeah.
So my idea is to get a group of guys together and to keep them together, keep them working together for
Right.
a common goal again, a common mission.
Yeah, that's fucking dope because I see what you're saying is they put all this time and money into these into us, and then it makes what I feel like that would do is make you feel comfortable again around like your people, and then it's kind of doing the same thing that the military does, is it separates you from that group again and it sends you back home.
Right.
Which I think
Exactly.
which I think is where a lot of us struggle with, right? Is just getting separated from those type of people in that environment, especially people that you can relate to. I think that's fucking awesome. My buddy was actually talking to me about trying to do. He said the same thing. He wants to have like a piece of land where people can just come over and veterans could come over and that's fucking awesome. I think you should continue doing it, and if you do once
Yeah, I
you
got my old platoon sergeant, Cole, Staff Sergeant Cole. He's actually executive director of Warrior Reunion Foundations, and he gets all these. He'll get 2-7 together. Like he'll get a
that's
reunion
fucking
pay for
cool.
everybody. That's what he does. He's been helping me out a shit ton uh, with all my stuff. He's on the board and all that stuff. But he's having the same problem too with the COVID, because once again, get people
It's
together is
almost
like
illegal. Yeah.
so high.
That's cool, man. I think that's an awesome idea, and I think you should. Obviously, there's fucking the COVID is affecting a lot of issues here. And where are you planning to host that nonprofit organization at? Right there in your
Uh,
state?
I want to run. I mean, the idea is to get it like a nationally done thing, but
That would be
hopefully we
cool.
get a pilot program done in Missouri.
Missouri. Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome, dude. I think that's fucking a great idea, and I think that that could definitely help out people. dealing with that whole separation thing and not being around the same type of environment and people. And I think they could get some things out of that, especially when you're showing them land shit and potentially just doing activities together.
Right, just getting them back in the field, just that
Yeah, yeah. I think that
everybody
on
hates being in the field, but then you take them out of it, now they're all sad.
yeah, and then they just go back to just fucking being down and missing the boys and missing
Right.
the activities that you get to do together. I actually wanted to get with my 2-7 friends and go on like a hunt,
Right, yeah.
go camping and go on a hunt. I think that'd be fucking awesome. Obviously it requires money and organization and everybody getting together in one specific state, and obviously the military is people from all over the fucking country.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. Let me know when you got more of it going, and I'll fucking throw it on here on the podcast, and I'll try to blast it as much as I can on my Facebook page as well. Um, uh, so reaching out to your buddies, talking to them. Um, did you go to any therapy that you would say helped, or did you do any other things that potentially helped you a little bit more, or was it more of just talking to your fellow Marines?
I tried the whole PTSD clinic thing down
Yeah.
at the VA, and I don't know what their problem is, but
It's the VA.
I mean, for them to put you in a room with some witch woman who's just mad at the world, and
Mm-hmm.
her to angrily tell you that it's not your fault isn't the way to accomplish anything.
Yeah,
So, and then they just want, they want to medicate you. They want to put
of
pills down
course.
your throat, you know. So, and I don't want to do that. So,
Yeah.
like the best thing for me was to dramatically cut booze out from my life,
Mm-hmm.
almost to the point of the entirety,
Right.
and just reaching back out to my brothers, just fucking calling them up, shooting the fucking shit for an hour or two,
Yeah.
just
Yeah, that's definitely helped. I mean, it's helped me when I was going through my my dark times. I didn't want to talk to my. I felt this weird shame. I don't know about you, but I felt like a weird shame of like being weak. I didn't want to. I didn't want them to think that I was the weak one out of the group or whatever the fuck it was, which is stupid. I don't think you should have that mentality. I think it's okay to reach out and talk to people. Now, especially with this going on the podcast, and just experiencing the fact, I reached out to my gunny and I hit him up because I guess I felt comfortable telling him because I know he was going through some shit himself. So I reached out to him, and he really helped me get through my struggles. But when I was talking to my friends, on because the first time I heard my buddy's stories was on the podcast. A lot of the boys on here that have been here were 2-7 guys.
yeah, no, so, yeah,
Yeah, and that was the first time me hearing that they fucking almost bit the bullet, and I just want people to know that it doesn't have to get to that point. It like I can guarantee you your buddies would be more than willing to hear you out and even just shoot the shit like you were saying. I think it's important to keep in touch. Whether and it's not necessarily be in touch with all of them, just like the people who you were around with the most, the people that you really formed a bond with the most, and I think that's one big part. And I know it's something that people say a lot, where it's like, oh, reach out, reach out, reach out, and it's easy to say because it might not be the easiest thing to do, but here we are again. Reach out, man. Like it's
right,
probably the best thing you can do. The pills, I've heard terrible things about the pills for it. I heard they fuck you up even more. Um, for some
yeah,
people, they might work, but I've heard terrible things about them. Therapy, I've heard good and bad things, like you said. It's some good, some bad. Some people, it just feels like they really aren't there to actually fucking put the effort to help you through those things.
yeah. We had one of our Marines. He was a real good kid. Yeah, he was in school to like be a pastor and stuff. A good kid. He ended up making national news, and he's in prison now.
Really?
Yeah, for having a freak out. I mean, and that was like everything in that situation happened wrong, from the fucking VA to his mom calling the police to the police reaction to the situation. It just all made it worse.
What
And
ended up
now
happening with that? Like, what was
he I guess the way the story goes is he's kind of coming off them pills or wasn't taking them right or however that worked out, and he was smashing, like a bottle of whiskey or something, and then his mom, I guess he couldn't flying out of the house. This guy's married with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Went flying out of the house or whatever, and how did it work out? I guess he goes flying out of the house. Mom calls the police, says, her Marine son has PTSD, he's suicidal.
Jeez.
And then this fucking douchebag cop, he's not even on duty. He's in his uniform, but he's either off his shift or getting ready to go into his shift. Spots him at a gas station and just immediately draws down on him. And so he ends up taking some gal and using her like then I think the police, however the words went down, or where police officer shot him.
Jesus Christ.
And he starts using this gal as a human shield at knife point, and then he throws her to the ground and steals her car and goes on this pursuit. And then he just said he was going to fucking end it, and he hammered it down like a 2-lane road, solid line road, hammers it, and he just drifts right over and hits some gal head on.
Jeez.
He fucked her up real bad. He fucked himself up kind of bad, but not too bad really. He lived and all that stuff, and now he's doing like 9 years.
Jeez. I wonder how much different the situation would have been if instead of the mom calling the fucking cops, she could have just hit up one of his buddies, and
exactly.
They could have just talked him down,
Exactly. Or some cop just he heard a bolo and he pulls his pistol on.
Like, what the fuck? That's what I'm saying. This is branching out a little bit, but I think that's the big issue with the police department in the States. I think they're way undertrained when it comes to what they do. We fucking train for fucking 10 months out of the year or whatever the fuck it is to deploy for a 6-month deployment. I think cops need more training because they escalate shit when it's not necessary. I like to say it was harder for us to pull the trigger on somebody when we were overseas than it is for a fucking cop here. Like when we were there, we had to make sure. I remember they were like, you have to get shot at first, and it's like, so if somebody, it's like, so when somebody and if we do get shot at, the dude goes in the building, comes out with no rifle, you cannot shoot him because you lost line of sight. I was like, fucking kidding me, but back here it's like you can shoot a civilian for fucking almost close to nothing. Obviously, there's some cool cops, and I'm not like I said, I'm not trying to bash on them. It's a hard job, but I think that there needs to be some better training when it comes to just all around police department escalation of force or de-escalation. Again, I'm not in their shoes, so I can't really speak about it. I'll probably have a fucking cop Marine on here and have him fill me in that information, and maybe he can speak on it a little bit more. But
my whole thing about cops is, they start them out about $16 an hour, and you ain't getting the cream of the crop for $16 an hour.
Oh, no way, no fucking way. Not at all. And I've heard that as soon as they finish the academy, it's like boom, out to the field. That's it.
Yeah.
Like it's not continuous training. I'm sure they have every training here and there, but I don't think it's probably as well.
Just think about this: for them to keep their post certification, that's their police officer certification, dealio, that's peace officer something, whatever that certification is. They have to do 8 hours of firearms training a year annually. That's it.
Jesus. Wow, 8 hours.
8 hours, and I think their initial instruction is 120 hours.
Their first one that they get at the academy.
In the academy, they get 120 hours of firearms training, and then to keep their certs, they do 8 hours of training annually.
Wow, that's not shit, dude.
I know.
That's not shit. You could pull that off in literally a day and then never have to fucking fuck with your gun again until you have to shoot.
No, that's what they do. It's a one-day deal.
Yeah. Wow.
The police department's their big bitch about the whole thing is they ain't got the money to do it. And I understand that too.
Sure, yeah, the funding. I'm sure, especially right now. I'm sure that's not it's not easy to get funding in the police departments.
Right.
Jeez, but I mean, if we want a better department, we got to be able to invest in it. It's kind of like having firefighters without with just fire extinguishers. You know, it's like
Right.
it's like no, that's not gonna work. You know,
It just doesn't make sense.
yeah. I think we just need to do well, not we, but somebody needs to do something, and they need to get them their funding and their training, and again, not an easy job. Respect to those guys for sure.
Definitely.
But I think there could be a better way about that. Maybe when I have that dude on here, if he decides to come on here, I'll ask him some questions about how that whole process is, and maybe we can get a better idea, especially right now with that being a big topic.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, brother, I think we're gonna call it here. I think this was a good conversation.
Cool.
I appreciate you coming on here and telling your story. I think it's fucking awesome. Obviously, it's some hardcore shit that you've done, and you know, much respect to you and your fellow brothers and everybody, you know, that gave the ultimate sacrifice. And if you want to say something for anybody who's out there listening, or if you want to, maybe you can give me a few names after we're done here with this, and I could add them on to the end scene of the podcast, and you know, to add them as a remembrance. Excuse me. But yeah, if you wanna say anything, a last note before we cut the podcast here.
No, just I mean, if you're out there, you're having trouble, just reach out to your brothers. I mean, you used to rely on them at the worst possible moments in time and in your life. I mean, why wouldn't reach out now?
Yeah, definitely. And like we said before, I know it's easy to say, but do it. I promise you, it'll get you through whatever you're experiencing. And whether or not, it'll always be awesome to just bullshit with them, regardless, and check up on them as well, because you never know how somebody's doing. We all like to put up a face sometimes and pretend everything's nice and dandy, but deep down, it really can be a struggle. Everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you again for coming on, brother. I appreciate you reaching out. Yeah, stay tuned for the next one, guys. Thank you. Peace.